Okay, let's look at how to calculate the surface area and volume of prisms. This will work for any type of prism. You just have to understand what kind of base it has and know how to find the area of that base. And so we're going to talk about the more challenging ones today in the notes because rectangular prisms are pretty easy for you to do on your own. So the formula for lateral area, and remember lateral area, going back to your warm-up, is just the rectangular faces in a prism, so not including the bases. So to find that, you would multiply the perimeter of the base times the height. To find the total area, you would do perimeter of the base times height plus 2 area of the bases. For volume, you would do area of the base times height. So let's make ourselves a little key here and remind ourselves that capital P, remember when there's a capital letter, that means you have to do something else to get that number. So this is perimeter of the base. Height is, or H is height. And capital B is area of the base. Okay. Now, a thing with height can be tricky if the prism is laying down on its side. So when you think about height, I want you to add one more thing over here. Let me change colors. And I want you to write connects base to base. Because if the prism is not standing or sitting on its base, then the height is horizontal instead of vertical. So height connects base to base. That's important. Now, let's think about surface area for a minute. Surface area is the area of the outside of the figure. So if you were going to paint the figure, you would be painting the outside, so we would have to know the area of all the faces put together. If you wanted to just find the area of each face and add them together, you can easily do that. But here are some formulas to kind of simplify that down and make it a lot faster. Volume. You've talked about volume before. It's how much the figure will hold. That's what's on the inside. So surface area is what covers the outside. Volume is how much it'll hold on the inside. So let's look at a couple of prisms here. The first one, let's highlight our base. So our base here is a triangle. So if the base is a triangle, then we know that we have a triangular prism. Okay. And we're going to find the lateral area, so the area of the 3 rectangles that you see going around. Then we're going to find the total area, adding in the 2 triangles, and then the volume, how much will it hold. My advice to you, and one thing that makes this easy for me to look at work, is to find your 3 variables that you need for the formulas. So we need the perimeter of the base, we need the height of the prism, and we need the area of the base. So let's think about perimeter for a minute. The base is a triangle, so if we go around the triangle, do we have all 3 sides? Yes. We know that we have a 10, and a 12. So your perimeter is 32. Our height, I'm going to highlight in yellow for you, connects triangle to triangle. So the height of that prism is 4. I'm going to color code that. Connects base to base. Then the area of the base, remember the formula for area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So we know our base is 12, but we don't know the height of the triangle. So let's draw a little triangle over here to the side. We know the height is here and it's perpendicular. We know that the height is going to cut the 12 in half, so this would be 6. Our hypotenuse would be 10. We know 2 of our 3 sides, so we're going to use Pythagorean theorem to find our missing height. So we're going to say 6 squared plus b squared equals 10 squared. If I subtracted my 6 squared over, b would equal 64. Sorry, b squared would equal 64, b would equal 8. So our height would be 8. And so we could do 1/2 times 12 times 8, and that would give me 48. So now you have all 3 pieces that you need for your formulas. So let's plug those in. we know the formula for lateral, we wrote up here at the top, is perimeter times height. So up here at the top, perimeter of the base times height. So our perimeter of the base was 32 times the height, multiply those, and you get 128. Area, we're going to take what we got from lateral, because notice that if in here in green, these two pieces are the same, so you can just bring that number down. So we're going to bring down the 128. But the formula says that we have to add in 2 of the area of the bases, so plus 2 times 48. And you can plug that into your calculator, 128 plus 2 times 48, and that's going to equal 224. Volume, go back up here to the top, the formula is area of the base times height. So area of the base is 48. Our height is 4. Multiply those two numbers and you get 192. They didn't give us a unit like inches or centimeters, so we're just going to put a U for units. So area is always squared, volume is always cubed. And that's all you have to do. Once you get the PB and H, the perimeter of the base, the area of the base, and the height, these formulas are super simple, but you've got to concentrate on getting those 3 numbers first and then plugging them into the formula. Okay, let's try one more. We look at the base. Let's go ahead and highlight it. We can see that our base is right here, and that's probably will come in handy for you is to highlight your base. So our base is a hexagon, which means we're working with a hexagonal or hexagonal prism. Okay, we have to find the 3 variables. And the order you find those in does not matter, as long as you get them all 3. So if it's a hexagon, each side is 6. We know that we can do 6 times 6, which gives us 36. Remember, our height connects base to base. So if I connect hexagon to hexagon, that has a length of 12. And our area of the base, remember, formula for a hexagon is apothem times perimeter divided by 2. Okay, well, we have the perimeter, so we need our apothem. Okay, so let's go over here, draw the little triangle. There's our apothem, there's our radius, there's our half side length. So let's bring that out so that we can use that in a bigger version. So we know that the 6 is cut in half by the apothem, so that would be 3. If it's a hexagon, remember, your angle's always going to be 60 here. So if we can set up our 30, 60, 90. And let me move that up here where we have a little bit more room. Okay, the 3 is across from the 30, making this an easy one. Across from the 60, which is what we need to get our apothem, is 3 squared root of 3. I don't really care about the 2x. We just need our apothem. So now we know our apothem is 3 square root of 3. And when we go to multiply that, remember, we're not going to plug the square root of 3 into our calculator. We're going to say 3 times 36 divided by 2, and that's going to give us 54. And then add your square root of 3 there. So now we have all 3 pieces. Now our formulas are going to be easy to plug in. So the formula for lateral is perimeter of the base times height. So perimeter of the base is 36 times our height of 12, which would give us 432. Again, we don't have a unit, so we'll just use unit squared. For total, we bring down the lateral and we add 2 of our area of the bases, which was 54 square root of 3. Well, if I look at those two terms, 432 and 54 square root of 3, they're not like terms. So all I can do is double the 54 and write that as an addition problem. So 432 plus, when I double 54, that gives me 108 square root of 3 units squared. Volume formula is area of the base, so 54 square root of 3 times our height of 12. We can only multiply our like terms, 54 and 12, which gives me 648, and add that square root of 3 in there. Units cubed. So just with the hexagon, remember those rules. Apothem times perimeter divided by 2. Set up your 30, 60, 90. Every hexagon will look the same with the 60 being there in that corner, and you'll be good to go on this one. If it's a rectangular prism, those are very easy. Find your base, find the area of the base and the perimeter of that rectangle, and then plug those numbers into your formula. But please, please, please find your perimeter of the base, the area of the base, and the height before you do anything on these problems.